Hi, today we're going to talk about some tips and pointers for applying for the NASP ERT Minority Scholarship. My name is Dr. Tamika LaSalle. I'm one of the co-chairs of the NASP Scholarship Committee, along with Dr. Sherry Proctor. I'm a 2009 recipient of the award. Sherry Proctor was a 1998 recipient of the award. She was actually the first recipient. And I'm joined today by Chia Hong, who was a 2018 recipient. So Chia and I will walk through the background of the scholarship program, the eligibility requirements, how to access the application, gathering your materials. Chia will talk about your personal statement and your letters of reference and some tips that you might consider when you're gathering that information. We'll discuss what are some things that you'll need to get from your university, such as your transcripts. We'll also talk about submitting your application, and people often ask, what if I don't get the scholarship? Lastly, we'll provide a link to online questions. So the scholarship was established in 1995 by Dr. Deborah Crockett. The purpose of the scholarship was to diversify the field of school psychology, specifically for minority students. We focus on specialist level training because at the time at least, there was limited funding available for specialist level students who identified as minority. We found that for doctoral students, there were a lot more options for funding, but there wasn't the same level of funding for specialist level students, which is why it was developed that they would receive a $5,000 scholarship that covers the duration of one school year. People often ask us how many awards do we give out each year? It varies, but since 1998, we've given at least one $5,000 scholarship each year. Sometimes we give one, sometimes we've given up to five. It really varies depending on the donations that we get over the course of the year. Usually that comes down to sort of the last minute, so we aren't able to tell you at the time of the application how many awards that we're giving out. But as long as the application is open, we will give at least one award. Eligibility. So in order to be eligible for the scholarship, you need to be a United States citizen, a full-time or part-time student of minority status, and we'll talk about minority status in a second. You must be a NASP member. Also, you must be in good academic standing, which is a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or better in your graduate training program. Also, you must be enrolled or accepted for enrollment in a NASP-approved school psychology program and or accredited by the appropriate agency. So if you click on this link, you'll see that there's a list by state of the NASP-approved programs. So you can access that just to ensure that you're eligible for the scholarship. A couple things to remember. If you're not eligible if you're graduating during the semester that you are applying for the award, or if you're graduating during the semester that you receive the award. So for example, if you apply in fall 2019, you cannot be graduating between fall and spring 2020. So you cannot be graduating during that school year. Another example is if you apply as a master's or a specialist level student, let's say this year in the fall you apply as a master's or a specialist level student, and next year you enroll as a PhD level student, you will not be eligible to receive the scholarship funds because you must be enrolled as a master's or a specialist level student. We often have students apply during their first year or their second year, which means that they usually receive the scholarship during their second year or their third year in the specialist training program. There are a couple programs that have 4-year specialist training programs, and so those students might apply up till their third year. But again, if you intend to change your student status to doctoral student, then you will not be eligible to receive the funds. This is the description of the ethnic requirements and those who are eligible. Also, if you click the link, then you'll be able to read more about the categories and how they're described. So you'll see that information here. Important dates. So the scholarship opened a couple days ago, or the application opened a couple days ago, August 29th, and it closes October 30th at 11:59 p.m. There are no exceptions. Your information has to be submitted to the system, and everything that you mail in has to be received by that date. So it's really important that you start the process early and that you gather your materials, because if there's a glitch in the system or there's something wrong with the computer at the last minute, then you will not be considered. And we all know if we've submitted NASP proposals that sometimes at the last minute, the system might sort of have a glitch. So make sure that you get your materials in early. So accessing the application. This sort of shows a link to how you access the application. Here is just if you click on this link, it just shows you an application overview so that you're able to just look at what are the key things that I need. Again, it has the background, the definitions, the selection criteria, and it has the information about the deadline. So that's what you're able to look at. Katie Britton, her contact information is here, and you'll see it in a number of other places. She's always available if you have questions about the application, if you have trouble accessing the application or uploading documents. Then you will access your application through your NASP member page. You must be a member in order to access the application. If you're not and you click to access the application, then it will tell you that you need to become a member. So you see here, I would need to log in order to submit that or to start the application because you have to be a NASP member.
Okay, so for the application process, it's important that you read over all the instructions listed, or unfortunately, if you don't follow all the instructions, you will be disqualified. So there's basically 3 parts to this. The first part is you would need to submit an online application, and that's where you put in your demographic and academic info. You'll put your recommender's contact information, and then you'll upload your statement of professional goals and your resume. And then part 2 is that once you submit that online application, your recommenders will get a link where they can upload their recommendation letter. And the final and third part of the application process is you'll need to submit hard copies of the student aid report, which you can find through FAFSA, and you'll have to submit your undergraduate and graduate official transcripts, and that should all be in one envelope. And just make sure, you answer everything. So again, as Dr. Tamika was saying, you would acquire the application online, and the application overview is available, and the application is available online. Okay, so from your university, you'll need to gather letters of recommendation. You'll need to get your official graduate and undergraduate transcript, and you can also have either like a professor or maybe a writing center person to review your personal statement. And you can also have someone such as a faculty member, or career centers often have people that can also review your resume and provide some feedback. So for your letters of recommendation, you'll need 2 people who are familiar with your passions and who you've maybe had a class with or practicum or other applied experience with. So if you're a first year, this should be someone who can attest to your professional qualities and, if possible, a faculty member. And if you're a second or third year, you'll need at least 1 faculty member from your school psych program. And it really is best to try to get and let your professors know or your supervisors know that you want to apply as early as possible. And what could also help them write and make a smoother process for them would be to give them a summary of your strengths, your interests, your career aspirations and goals, and also a copy of your resume. And then just allow at least 3 to 4 weeks for them to write a quality letter. So for the personal statement, the prompt is actually pretty vague. It just asks you to talk about your future aspirations and your goals as a school psych. And this is purposeful, where they really want to see, and this is the opportunity for you to share who you are as a person and a professional and share your unique point of view. So I guess you can really reflect on why you've chosen this profession and talk about any kind of specific experiences that have shaped you and have led you to this path. And then you can also talk about your intended contribution to the profession. So when you're submitting your materials, remember to submit the online application, and you'll want to actually submit this a little earlier than that October 30th deadline, because you'll want to give your recommenders a chance to upload their letter before that deadline too. And then also just make sure to submit the student aid report and those transcripts in one envelope to Katie Britton at the NASP office. And I would recommend working on these as quickly as possible, getting this paperwork, because sometimes it does take a while for the transcripts to send over to your place. So for the next steps, you can analyze and critique your CV. So how do your experiences and skills compare and contrast to recipients from this and previous years, and what skills would you like to add or enhance on your CV? So get those experiences and be involved. And you
Okay, sorry, Chia. So also be proactive. So you can attend the MSP sessions. Usually every year at NASP, we have the multicultural meet and greet, and that's where we present the scholars, other members of similar committees present, but it gives you an opportunity to speak with us and to talk to other scholars about just being a part of the scholarship committee. And, we're always available to answer as many questions as we can. Finally, if you have questions, then there's a link here that will provide additional sort of frequently asked questions that Chia and I covered today. So thank you for joining us. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to contact Katie Britton. You saw her information earlier in the email. She will help you with anything related to the application materials. Thank you.